Hi everyone, Stephen Stewart here with XXIX, and I'm very pleased to introduce Guy Labelle. Guy Labelle has just recently been appointed the President and CEO. Very proud to have him. Guy's been with us and the company for about a year and a half now, but just took on this new appointment. So welcome, Guy.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Pleased to be here.
So a little bit about your background, Guy. Tell everybody about it. You're an engineer. You've got a corporate development background. We brought you in here to take these projects to the next level. So tell us how you're going to do that, and tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, okay. Well, first, I graduated with a mining engineering degree from Laval University a long time ago, and did a master's degree at UBC in rock mechanics, and I'm a specialist in controlled blasting. And later on, working with Cambior, they sent me out for a 2-year MBA at the HEC in Montreal in exchange for a 4-year stint with the company. I stayed with Cambior for about 12 years, then Rio Algom. I joined Quadra at the beginning, and we grew that company about tenfold to sold to it was KGHM, the Polish company. And after that, some CEO mandate with Golden Queen and Aquila Resources.
And as I understand it, you have a little bit of background on Opemiska. So we were introduced by a common friend, and as it turns out, you knew about you've been following the project for decades, and you had been there.
Yes, I mean, I was there at during my second years of engineering as a student. Early at the beginning of my career. And I also had an interest in Opemiska at the time when the OR group was talking with the Gaucher family. I had identified this project already as a potential mine, but we went elsewhere, but it was on my list, if I can say that.
Good. And now I agree with you, and now you're helping me define it and move it forward. So look, I think it's a nice homecoming for you to be back on site after all those years. But of course, as I said, you've been with the company, you've been the president for about a year and a half, and now promoted to CEO. So you're now the face of the company. I'm stepping back, but working very closely with you. And I think we should use this as an opportunity to update everybody on what we're doing. Of course, we've got the Opemiska, which is what we've always been known for. Lots is going on. We've got a very exciting update coming over the next few weeks. And then we've got the Cherry, which is something that people know less about because it's sort of been in the background, buried in another company, but now we own it 100%. We closed that transaction at the end of 2024. We're working hard away, and let's give everybody an update on that. But let's start with the Opemiska because we've got a new resource update coming out very shortly. So tell everybody about that.
Okay, so the Opemiska is, at the beginning, 100 million ton at 1% equivalent, if we round the number. Since I joined the company, we also proceed with looking at the material in between the structure that we identified, the material that is in what I would call the matrix of the high-grade zone, considering the fact that, as mining it with open pit, we will have to extract this material anyway, and it's not waste, it's mineralized. So we had a study made on this, and we also drilled, we had 3 drilling program in the saddle zone since the MRE was published. So all those things now needs to be put into the market. I mean, we're going to increase the tonnage, and we need to use that for our PEA, and this is the right time to do it.
I agree. So just for clarity, we're coming out with an MRE. We hope to get it. We don't want to be too specific on the time, but it's in the works and it's coming out very soon. Yeah, this month. Okay, there you go. Cat's out of the bag. Pressure's on now, but yeah, the idea is to capture the Halo study, which we've talked about in the past, which is really capturing the mineralization that was in between the veins that is counted as waste in the 2024 MRE. In addition to that, we'll be including all the work that we've done on the saddle zone.
Exactly.
So that report's coming out. We expect it to, I guess, increase contained metal, importantly, and also help us with the strip, because what it was counted as waste is now going to be ore. So that's great news. Catalyst, obviously, with copper moving north of 460 these days. So we'll see if we can get some momentum. I think, it adds value. There's just absolutely no question about that. And then as you noted there, that will inform our PEA. That's the next step. What do you see there?
Well, the PEA, basically, we're looking at a project. Well, we want to announce a project and be able to talk about it to the stakeholder in Chapais. At this point, the people in Chapais are supporting us. They want, they're okay with responsible mining within the boundary of the municipality, but they give us some kind of and I would say an open thumbs up without knowing what the project is going to be. We need to return to them and describe the project with an engineering document that will say, this is what we intend to do, and we would like you to comment on it and tell us that it is something that is acceptable for you, and then we can move to the next step in the pre-feasibility at that point.
Right. So I agree completely. The PEA is obviously important because we expect and hope to show robust economics, but perhaps most importantly, is a mine plan. So we can communicate with the town of Chapais. Obviously, from day one, we've been very transparent with not just the town, but everybody who follows us, our shareholders. We're close to the town of Chapais, which leads us to community engagement, and something that you really have taken the bull by the horns ever since you've joined us as president a year and a half ago. You're there on site, I think every month. About a year ago, we announced an agreement of sorts with the town, where they, as you say, they have supported us. They always have supported us, but like any community proximate to any major industrial operation, they've got concerns and questions, and it's all about communication. Showing them what we intend to do, and all the benefits and the trade-offs. Look, like anything in life, there are trade-offs, but we think net this project has tremendous benefits for the community. So talk a little about the leadership of the community. You're there, you know the community well. How are they treating us, approaching this project?
Well, okay. So when I joined the company last year, I made a special that, the whole team spends a week per month in Chapais, that we go there, we raise the flag, we talk to people, and I take the time to speak with the leadership at least, once a week, over the week when I'm there. And on top of it, we created this consultation table that is more or less managed by a consulting group, where the leadership of the town and the company, we speak, I would say, open-heartedly with the problem and the issue that we have, and we deal with it formally every 3-4 months. But on top of it, like I said, every week that I'm there, once a month, I have a coffee with the mayor. We discuss about the things that are happening in town. By the way, it's the 70th anniversary of Chapais this year, and we'll be a sponsor of the various activities. Now, the town of Chapais understand what mining is all about. They understand that there will be impact, but there will be benefit. And the idea is that we have to create something that where the benefit will overwhelm the impacts. We're looking at there would be a creation of numerous high-paying jobs. The mayor wants, us to create a new neighborhood where, they'll build some house for the new workers. I mean, there's about 1,400 people in Chapais right now. We may create 200 jobs. I mean, it's going to be a big impact on the city. The fact that our infrastructure will be located within the limit of the city. I mean, there'll be some taxation power on their end to help the town in making, I would say, services to their citizen and the community for almost a generation, if the project lasts that long. So we have to disclose what the impact will be, but we also have to show what the benefit to the people in the city will be.
Okay, well, look, I think that summarizes Opemiska, what we're up to. We've got a lot of news flow milestones up ahead as we develop what has been our flagship project. But let's travel across the border, go west to Ontario and Thierry.
Yep.
Thierry Mine, we acquired, closed that transaction back in December. It is known as the largest copper resource in Ontario. It has been sort of domiciled in another junior mining company for a long time who has not understood it quite like we have. So I would suggest that we have taken that data. There was a wealth of data, 250,000 meters of drilling. It was operated on, or it was mined during the 70s. And I think our team has learned quite a few things about brownfields projects. We love brownfields environment. We love data. We learned a lot through the Opemiska process. It's a never-ending process. But I think we've taken that those skill sets and applied them to Thierry. And, it's a very exciting project, which nobody really knows much about, but I think that's going to change. So give everybody your perspective on what Thierry is and what it can be.
Okay, so when we acquired the company, we looked at basically there was a number of ore occurrence on the property, but two are of interest. The first one is, we call it K2, is the former underground mine. We're talking about, overall in all categories, 25 million ton at 1.6% copper, plus the platinum group element, plus nickel. This project, this mine actually was operated for 6 years only, from 76 to 82, which were probably the worst period of the recent time to operate a mine. I mean, it was the second oil shock. Inflation was in double digit. I mean, you had to change your worker compensation twice a year almost, just to keep up with inflation. Your working capital management was probably terrible. And eventually, and after 6 years, they gave up, and everything has been dismantled, everything has been reclaimed. But in the meantime, while they were doing this, they also found another zone, let's call it this way, ore body, 3 kilometers east. And this is a long stretch. It's about, it's over 1 kilometer long, and it is abutting to surface, dipping at a very nice angle of 55 degrees. And initially, the MRE was calling for about 53 million ton of 0.4 copper. Let's make round numbers. We start looking at this, and we believe that, through reinterpretation of the data, we're seeing a larger number of tons, albeit at a lower grade, obviously, but we're seeing larger ton, without even drilling a new hole. On top of it, we're also seeing that there's a grade gradient with depth, and as the deeper holes are higher grade than the one on surface. So the geology team is looking at the model right now to understand why we've got 1.6% copper at one location, and 3 kilometers away, it's 1/4 of that grade. But on the other end, where there seems to be a gradient into that second zone, we need to understand this. And I think we have a model right now that needs to be proven to drilling. On top of it, the property has a I would say, a very nice looking marker for geology that, it carries those two ore bodies. We can follow this on many kilometers, and basically between the two zones, there's been some geophysics done, but we believe that the previous owner probably didn't drill appropriately on it. They were too high on the system. So again, a lot of greenfield exploration in between those two brownfield zones.
Okay, so we've got the K2, which is on the west. That's where the majority of the mining was done. Very high grade at 1.6% copper, plus nickel, plus PGE. 3 kilometers to the east, we've got the K1, which is 50 plus million tons at about 0.4 copper plus PGE nickels, the same mineralization, same event, right on strike. We have reinterpreted how the lower grade deposit is, because when we went up there, we saw they didn't even split the core in between the veins. So we went in there, we split the cores, we sent it for resampling, which led to sort of a reinterpretation similar to what we've done on Opemiska on what we call the Halo study. And so it's really about a new look on how K1, the lower grade deposit, is. We think, with, as you say, without drilling a hole, in this interpretation, it's going to get bigger, because, you know, we definitely want to get it bigger. Scale, when you talk about copper, is big business. But beyond that, beyond what we see is, call it lower hanging fruit, is increasing tons. We have an idea of how we can chase higher grade mineralization on the east, the K1, the east zone, because there's such a discrepancy between this 1.6 and this 0.4. And as we had drilled, because I should note that the eastern zone, the K1, has really only been drilled quite shallow. So
Exactly.
we think we're going to find the higher grade continually at depth. We hope.
Well, I mean, the data right now shows that, you know, as we go, the deepest hole are the best hole. Let's put it this way. So this thing is begging for more drilling at depth. It's going to be more expensive, obviously, but I mean, we think that, you know, it's open in both strike direction and down dip.
Okay.
It could be,
Beautiful.
actually, it could be bigger than Opemiska.
Yeah, well, that's what we're thinking internally, but there's only one way to prove that. And I guess, you know, sort of in closing with Thierry, I think this project is just dying for drilling. And that's what we're going to do. In the not too distant future, we'll come out with a drill program that is well informed, based on us tearing down all of that data, washing it, building it back up in a modern, sophisticated interpretation. So that's coming.
Yes, and that's, you know, that's really applying all the lesson learned on Opemiska to a new project, and, you know, making it go faster because of the knowledge that we're bringing to the project.
Good. Okay, Guy. Well, look, that's a great start. Thank you very much for joining the webinar with me. It's been a pleasure working with you, and all these nice pleasantries. I have the utmost faith in your ability to drive these projects forward, and shareholders should too. If they have any questions, we'll put your contacts up there. I encourage you to reach out to Guy. And, you know, thank you very much for your time, Guy, and thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you.